think that tasks are an underused area of Infusionsoft. So a task is when something manual has to happen. So you might remember this campaign that we created a few videos ago. So basically someone fills out a contact form, gets some information, buys a product. If they buy a product, what we might want to do, so typically when you're working in Campaign Builder, most of the time you're creating emails. But another thing that you can do is you can set up tasks. So if you want to give someone in your company a task to do because a contact has got to this point in the sequence, what we can do is we can drag this create task into the sequence. First thing that you should do when you're creating a task is always rename the task, because I'll explain fully why in a moment. Because when the task appears in the for the person who's going to do the task, where the task appears, this name is how the task appears. So if you leave it as create task, they just get a notification telling them to create task, which doesn't make any sense. Whereas actually the task might be to send product A. So that's now more meaningful because it tells the person doing the task something about it. So then if I go into this, it's worth explaining the options here. So you've got a type task here. So these are all defaults. So is the task to call the contact, to email the contact, to set an appointment, to fax the contact, etc. If you don't like these and if you want additional ones, I'm pretty sure in my app I do have some additional ones. What you need to do is just come out of the campaign for a moment. Is go into CRM, I think it's in here, CRM settings, and go to the task settings. Then on here what you can do is you can edit the type options. So if you never ever send anyone a fax, you can get rid of the fax and replace it with I don't know, Skype or whatever it is that you use. So then let's go back into that campaign. So we've got our task. The task is going to be to Skype someone in this case. So the title then, we're going to say please Skype, and then you can merge in the contact's name. So please Skype Rob Drummond. And then in the body you can put a full description. So I think a big mistake that people make when they're creating tasks is using crappy descriptions in the body section. So really what you should do here is you should explain to the person doing the task well, first of all, what happened. So say Rob Drummond. Sometimes I'll then actually merge in the email address just so they know who the contact is. Has bought product A. Please arrange a Skype call to discuss product A. So what we've done here is we've said what is the situation that's caused this task to happen, and what does the person doing the task need to do. So you can include step-by-step instructions here if you want. This is now worth paying attention. So we've got some options here. So you can either assign the task to the contact's owner, which most of the time will make sense. So the contact's owner is specified on the contact record. So if I go into one of my contact records, Rob Drummond, and go into the contact record. So the owner here has been set to me, been set to Rob Drummond. If you had more users, then you could change the owner here. You can also set the contact's owner in the campaign builder. So situations where this tends to crop up more where you might have like a sales rep dealing with a particular contact. Because then what you might do is you might assign an owner. So let's say, for example, that in here I might assign a contact owner. So then I can either assign the contact owner to a particular user, or I can assign it using a round robin system. So anyway, that's contact owners. So back in our tasks, so generally you are going to tick this box because in general the task is going to be assigned to the contact owner. What you can also do, so this assign to backup means that if you assign the task to a contact owner and that contact owner has left the company and you've deleted their Infusionsoft account, then Infusionsoft will assign the task to the backup here instead. This field is actually quite flexible because what this means is that, so let's say for example that you've got, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit here, but what we can do is we can set a goal here to look out for when this task is completed. So Skype call. So this goal is going to look out for when this task gets completed. So what I can do now is I'm going to set up a task here for the contact owner to Skype so-and-so. I'm going to assign it to the contact owner. I generally leave days until due as 0. So there's two options with this. I think that you can either leave this days until due to be 0 all the time, because in my opinion, when a task is created so it should be done, and it should be done immediately. What you can do is you can create a task and say it's due in 3 days. That's the other way of doing it. It's completely up to you how you go about it. My preference is to, instead of having a days until due, I will always set this as 0 and use a delay timer before the task to put in the delay. So instead of having 3 days until due, what I will generally do is I will put in a delay timer here of 3 days and then schedule a task to be done immediately. I don't know, in my brain that just makes more sense. You can specify a time if you want, you don't have to do that. And you do have to specify a priority, so I generally just make every task essential, because otherwise why else would you create a task? If you notify the owner, Infusionsoft will send the contact owner an email with this information, so I think you generally do want to specify that. And you can also notify other Infusionsoft users as well. I generally don't set the pop-up reminder because I find it really annoying. So we're going to create a task for the contact owner to Skype so-and-so. What we can do now is, so when this task is completed, this goal will fire and the contact will move from this sequence to this goal. So if the task isn't completed and this goal doesn't fire or doesn't trigger, what we might want to do is we might want to wait, say, 4 days, and then we might want to create another task, but this time, so back to process, create another task, but maybe this time we're going to notify a manager. We're going to notify a manager because this task hasn't been done yet. So in this time, so again, you might have a separate type for this. So task incomplete notification, and then maybe in here we'll say something like Rob Drummond had a task scheduled to Skype with, and then we can actually merge the owner's name in as well, to Skype with owner's name. Owner does not appear to have completed this task. And there may be genuine reasons for that. Maybe, you know, owner is on holiday or whatever. Maybe he or she's been off sick. Please check on this. So then this time we're not going to assign this to the contact owner, we're going to assign it to the manager. And we're going to make a days until due 0 priority essential. We're not going to notify the owner, but we are going to notify the manager. So this is something that actually becomes quite useful, because then you can create tasks but assign it to other people. So that's really tasks. A task will appear, so when a task gets triggered, if you check the box to notify either the owner or other people, they will receive an email through. The email looks a bit like, I find a task notification email. So the task notification looks like this. So it comes through, assigned to me, who the contact is, action title, action notes. So then the action notes are what we put in the body field before. So they'll get an email through. Then in Infusionsoft, what we're going to do tomorrow is we're going to do reporting tomorrow, and we'll customize dashboards. But what we can do is we can create a dashboard of all the tasks that have to happen today, so that when this task gets scheduled for me, I'll get an email through. I can log into Infusionsoft, and I'll see on my dashboard that I need to call Rob, or Skype Rob, as we've just set up. If I click on this, I can see the full notes, so I can see what I need to do. And yeah, I can see any further information. So yes, and then once I've done a task, I can check that, mark it as complete. And then once I mark a task as complete, it will, just going back into the campaign, I know we're jumping about quite a lot. But once I as the owner mark that task as complete to say that I've done it, this goal will fire, moving the contact out of that sequence and onto wherever we send them after this. The other place that tasks appear, and again we'll cover my day in more detail in another video, but the other way to interact with tasks, Infusionsoft actually provide a view called My Day that will list all of the tasks that I as an Infusionsoft user have to do. So I'll see all of my tasks here, so I can click on a task, and this provides a bit of information. I actually think this is a nicer interface to work from. If you're working from tasks regularly, I think this is a nicer interface to work from, because I can see the contact's basic information. I can see, you know, what emails the contact's been sent, and so on, and just, you know, check this box to mark the task as done when I've done it, basically. So that's tasks. I suggest that you have a go at that. So if you have points in your sequences where people need to manually interact, then tasks are the thing to use.